Okay, so I know that for the past, existence of the small saga, I have been shitting a lot on Phase 1, specifically the Omega Saga and everything that came before and led to it. So you know what? To make things for a change and to let the writers fucking breathe, because holy shit, that's gonna take a while, isn't it? So yeah, basically in resume, Red Wrath is supposed to come out like soon. I expect at least this week. Otherwise, holy shit, what kind of Bible 2 are you writing there, my good sir? Regardless, I hope Red Wrath, which is the new story. Sorry, I think I just spoiled the fucking title. Sorry. I think it's coming next. So before I berate the writers, which will probably be like a wall of criticism that will get them to lose sleep fixing the mistakes and nitpicks I have, I want to talk something good about the Omega Saga, because for as flawed as it has its fair share of contributions, just like Phase 1 as a whole. And honestly, I think I don't give enough positives for all the critics I make. So I gonna focus on the most flawed part, which is of course RK and his introductions and how season 1 completely does injustice to his character and to Parallax. Yeah, I still not done with Parallax. I like her character a lot. Again, it's very quirky and stuff, but I definitely can see. I think you can see why I like her so much. Regardless, here's some praise about Phase 1. So here's the thing. While Phase 1 writing is flawed, especially, I'm gonna focus on Omega Saga. When I say Phase 1, I'm referring specifically to the Omega Saga, the two stories that happen in the timeline split, not considering the alpha stuff and not considering what will start soon. Regardless, when I say it's flawed, it is. It's a mess, and it's just a bunch of pitches that were stitched together. The story doesn't have a lot of cohesion, and while you can see a story forming, it's pretty random and seems to jump from place to place, depending on how much the writers did want to do a certain topic or style. But for as flawed as the writing itself is, the concepts are by far one of the most original I think I've ever seen in the saga at all. Like, not to praise it, it's not Star Wars levels of originality. Like, and it's really hard. Like, I know that every writer, I think, aspires to be the next big original thing, the big next concept that gets everyone, wow, that's pretty good and unseen before. But for as not original, the most original thing ever, I feel like among the saga, Phase 1, specifically the Omega stuff, has a lot of unique concepts. Not the first one to do a multiverse stuff organization. I think that shit came out before Loki even. So that's a feat. That's a feat I've ever seen. One Marvel copying little fanfic authors. That's something you never see every day. So yeah, multiverse organizations is not exactly something new. Has been done before. Rick and Morty and stuff. Has definitely had its share of rewrites and stuff. Gods and stuff that can break the fourth wall and do impossible feats. Also not the exactly newest shit to ever hit the market. But when you consider this was supposed to be like a little franchise about just war, like you have a pretty grounded conflict on Earth where shit happens pretty standardly. You have your madman, you have your kidnapped Japanese scientist that goes after explosives. You have your cancer guns. I feel, again, little information from the writers, but he unironically just described like little side tangents. He told me that when Dispenser pitched the rifles that used radiation and shit, he described them as cancer guns to explain the lasting effects they would have on whatever they hit, and that's beautiful to me. Like, I feel like if they market it as cancer guns, definitely would have a lot of more impacts in the story. Regardless, when you consider that it's relatively grounded, stuff uses real scientists, we operate in real world logic. You have your standard, you have magic and shit, sure, but it's not very far from what actually happens. It's a scenario that can, to a degree, realistically happen in real life. And then you have the Omega Saga, which introduces not only sociopathic agents that go after impossible missions to try and keep multiverse is safe as best as is possible to their ability, but you also have anomalies that are birthed from a god that's trapped in a giant cube, and you have its lackey, which is essentially a Superman, basically, Superwoman, I think. Yeah, Superwoman, that can just tear through buildings and basically kills her opponents by smashing their heads onto walls until they're just a flat paste. And when you put that into contrast, it definitely comes off that the Omega Saga was wanting to be a lot more ambitious than its predecessor and current inspiration. Now, while the rewrite has its fair share of betterments, it's more coherent, it's a more grounded, simple story to follow. Sure, it just jump from place to place from time to time, but it's more grounded and generally easy to follow. It's shit doesn't come out of nowhere. I mean, it does, but it's always a thing. You cannot just finish all the arcs that the other left behind without doing some lazy smashing in, which forgivable. But again, the rewrite still keeps a lot of the originality. You still have the concept of RK being this fourth wall breaking, even emphasized here, the fourth wall breaking god that can just straight up read out the script, know exactly what the audience is reading and can use that to his advantage, and it has just this unlikely godlike protagonist levels of power that you definitely never expect to see with such a grounded story. And then you have Parallax, which is just straight up, yes, she's your standard model of hot super agent, I can just imagine, because you know what kind of stuff Parallax is. She's the standard agent that probably would have some scenes which usually involve unnecessary exposure in a movie and stuff. You know the kind. Sure, she's kind of generic, but she still has her fair share of contributions. Because I think I described this in a previous video, I recommend you check it out. I described that she has a tend of humanity to this unlikable douche that is RK. To a degree I think I've never seen it before other henchwomen and other henchwomen. Usually very professional stuff or they're just straight up in love. But this blurred line when Parallax is just like the humanity RK can never acquire just really makes her unique, and again you can tell that Omega Saga was shooting for concepts way too high for its own advantage. It could have stick to something more casual. It could have made RK your standard bad guy that has some ancient artifact. Could have made Parallax just a real generic trained super soldier or shit that goes around and kills people for RK because he can just straight up neck her or something that she loves. But no, they instead shot way higher, again for their own good, too high, and they just created a massive story to introduce two characters. Again, I feel like that super high shot kind of hurts the story a bit because you're pitching concepts way too advanced, way too high, and way too prevalent, and the writing just doesn't accompany, which damages the story a bit. But I'm all for it because you know what? We got Parallax, we got RK, and we got that really weird, awkward, deleted bathtub scene. I'm not gonna elaborate on that. It wasn't a story, and I read it. I cannot find it anymore, and I won't question the writers about it because if they deleted that shit, they want to forget it. So I'm gonna be the nice guy and let them do it. So yeah, this was the video. Thank you for watching. Don't at me, okay? I will not give any further detail. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.